Welcome back to Paddlecast, everybody. Very excited for today's episode of the quarantine edition of Paddlecast. The greatest paddler of all time is joining us, Connor Baxter. He needs no introduction. He's won basically every race in the world. He's an absolute legend of the sport, and he's only 25 years of age. He's an incredible paddler. You know, on the water, he's amazing, but he's just as incredible off the water. He's got some great insights, some great perspectives, and he shares some great stories about his life on Maui, where he'll be spending a lot more time than usual this year, which he doesn't seem to mind because he's just welcomed his first child into the world. Very exciting times over there. And we chat about his perspective on the sport, how it's changed over the years. Very, very interesting. And also a little sneak peek at a special SUP Racer project. Kind of a fun little thing we're going to be releasing in a couple of weeks. It'll be rolling into your news feeds in 2 or 3 weeks. I'll let you watch the podcast and see what that's all about. Also, we're going to be doing one of these new quarantine editions of Paddlecast every 24 hours. It's my commitment to you, the SUP community. Help keep us all connected, help give you your daily dose of SUP goodness. Every 24 hours, we're going to do a new Paddlecast quarantine edition episode where I'll jump on the phone and chat with an interesting paddler from around the world. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you'll get every single episode as soon as it's released. Also, next week, we're going to launch a very special new kind of members-only insiders club called Club SUP Racer. That's going to be a bit of fun as well, and that's just kind of a creative way to help fund the project that is SUP Racer, because this is 110% a full-time job in these crazy times when a lot of us have lost, all of our income. Especially those in the creative fields, we have to get really creative with how we give you guys value, and that's what I hope these daily podcasts are going to be. And we also have to get creative with how we fund our projects, so that's what Club SUP Racer is going to be. It's going to be a paid members-only club. You can pay as little as $1 a week, and you'll get some cool perks. I mean, the main reason we're doing this is just so you can support the creative work of SUP Racer. I guess that's hopefully the main motivation for you. But I am going to bribe you to join the club. We're going to have some cool members-only benefits. We're going to do some Zoom meetups with some of your favorite paddlers, so you can ask them anything you've ever wanted to know. We're going to be doing a monthly sweepstakes where we'll give away some really cool prizes from some of your favorite brands, and we're going to give you early access to every single podcast episode, so you'll be the first to hear all these chats with the interesting paddlers around the world. That's Club SUP Racer. It's launching on this new platform called Patreon, which is just how you can become a patron and support your favorite creative artist on YouTube or podcast or SUP Racer, if that's your thing. No pressure. All these Paddlecast episodes will always be free, but we're just going to have a little bit of fun with Club SUP Racer and see how it goes. Anyway, let's jump into it. Connor Baxter, Paddlecast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, all the usual places, and we'll do one of these every single day. Alrighty, Connor Baxter, welcome to Paddlecast Quarantine Edition, buddy. How you doing over there?
Exactly.
How's life under lockdown?
Taking it all in, man. It's crazy times, but for me, been chilling with the fam and getting some workouts and some water time as well. Have to keep my sanity as long as we're quarantined and locked indoors. But it's been amazing having a son and this time to spend with the family and not be traveling. It's been like 15 plus years that I've been in one spot, and luckily I'm home.
You timed it pretty well having a child. Congratulations. Very, very exciting. Yeah, how's it been? You've basically been locked on Maui with your newborn.
Yeah, it's crazy times, like I said, and it's like hard to see all the, sadness going around in Italy and Europe and Spain, and my heart and prayers goes out to all of them out there for sure. And we're going to get through this. It's going to be, a time that we can all just be indoors with family and, really come out of this with different motivations, different goals, see what we were doing in the past. Was that really benefiting us? And move forward, hopefully in a positive way, and it seems like already with the pollution levels and little things here and there, it's like taking a hard hit, we're losing lives. There's no question about it. There's no joke, but at the same time, it's slowing a lot of things down. So it's allowing us to, really see this big picture and what an impact it actually does.
Yeah, I think that's a really good take on it. That's a good attitude. And you're right, it's slowing a lot of things down.
For sure.
Environmentally and just socially, it feels like we've been able to kind of hit pause I mean,
well, and a big thing too is the consumers. Like, we just live in a day and age right now where we just consume, and like you're having to throw so much stuff away. But on a positive note, for sure, yeah. What timing for me? This was definitely not a scheme that I ate a bat and caused this whole thing just so I could be home.
You didn't start the virus to spend some time with your new son?
Yeah, my buddies were rousting me for that, but no, it's been amazing.
Blame Connor.
To see this. Oh yeah, new hashtag right there. But see this little child grow up, it's been pretty cool, man. Super special. And I thought we were going to be having to do this on the road because first event was that Salt Life event over there in Columbus, Georgia, right after.
A few weeks away. You would have been on the road in like 3 weeks, right?
Yep. So little man's freaking passport and all that stuff is coming in, and we were getting it going. But
you were taking him on the road.
Certificate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Travels for free.
Yeah, make the most of it the first 2 years, right? Yeah, then he's not allowed to travel till he's 18.
And then, yeah, pretty much until he can, get his own sponsors.
Yeah. So tell us, how's it feel being a father?
It feels
Trestle Crew Baxter, correct?
Yeah.
Very cool name.
Baxter is his name. Yeah, it's pretty unique. We came up with it. We were actually in California at the time, and we were just, going through a list of names. And yeah, we stopped on that one, loved it, and it was it. And then Crew is French vintage, if you know, like bottles of wine.
Yeah.
I think you know a little bit about that, right?
I know a thing or two. We had some fun last summer over there in Bordeaux.
We did.
Visiting the chateaus and
oldest wine town ever, right?
Oh yeah, that place is magic. All right, so we get to go back there every year for your son's birthday. Is that how it works?
I know, but yeah, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Start a new tradition after this coronavirus. How about?
Yeah, hopefully by when's he born? The start of March?
Yeah, March 5th, right on his due date.
So hopefully by next March we're allowed to travel again. That would be
killer.
I mean, who knows?
Over there in Europe.
Fingers crossed. That seems like a long way away, but I mean, the sport's shut down for at least the next 4 months, I'd say. Like basically everything through Molokai just got cancelled. Your beloved Molokai.
I mean, at the moment we're up to, Hood River, who knows, and the ATP event in Japan. Those are like the two events.
That's end of September, Osaka?
Yeah. But you look at the Olympics, huge event, right? And if they're already, postponing it, which they're a much larger scale, of course, and bringing in way more people, but still, they're going and they're canceling. So they're in August. So who knows? We'll see when the time comes.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think you're right. Like what you were saying there, obviously the Olympics is way bigger, so it was going to be a casualty, but they were going to do everything they could to run it. So the fact that it did get postponed means basically like the Northern Hemisphere summer is kind of a write-off, I think, for any events. Like if there's nothing happening in June or July, I think that gorge race, like the big gorge paddle challenge, that's like our firewall, Yeah. It's like Game of Thrones where the Dothraki are fighting against like the White Walkers.
Yep.
If the gorge falls, we're retreating into the castle. Like we're in trouble after that.
Old door.
So yeah, exactly. So we'll see. But I mean, it's this whole crisis is, like you said, like it's a tragedy. There's a lot of people losing their lives. There's millions of people losing their jobs, like losing their businesses. Like it's fucked up on a lot of levels. And it's going to take.
But how do you come out of it? How do you come out like falling down? How do you come out of it from losing a race or having a bad day or stubbing your toe? Right. So it's definitely
perspective, right?
It's tough. Yeah, it's perspective. Tough one to swallow, and it's hard. And we just have to get through this. And it seems like it's already making a huge push, and everyone's getting so much closer. And luckily, we do live in a day and age where we can do this. I mean, when did you think we could, Skype over the phone and be looking at each other and having a conversation? And it's really cool to see times like this that social media is actually making an impact in a positive way.
Yeah, it's like social media's become social, finally. Finally, we're not just like glamorizing our Instagram feeds with, poses and vain selfies. Like we're actually using social media to be social with our friends.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like odd that it took a global pandemic for Instagram to become healthy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, TikTok's still on its own level, but
So yeah, I mean, obviously there's way bigger things in the world right now than sport. I mean, there always is, but
yeah,
sport's always kind of, it's that thing we have in our lives. But right now,
keeps us grounded.
I mean, sport's in this strange place where it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And how's as
I
a
heard
professional
some rumors,
athlete,
though.
hey?
I heard some rumors about some marble racing coming up.
I've actually got 20 balls sitting on the other side of this table. You want to see? You want to see your marble?
Yes, I do.
Hang on, I'm gonna grab it for you.
It's going to be our only form of entertainment. I mean, I'm ready to race Boothie this whole time. I got strong and got all fit. I want to see what my marble. I'm going to pass all my energy over there and race these guys.
Wait, I'm gonna. It's actually. I kid you not. It's in the shaping bay. I'm here at the one.
Oh my gosh.
The one warehouse. And
lost.
I bought 20 racing marbles, and they're all the same color. So I painted 18 of them, like all these different funky rainbow colors. Hang on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find where yours is, because this is a world exclusive. Okay. Tell us. I'm gonna be gone for a minute. Just tell us what have you been up to over there?
Yes.
Like in this downtime. I heard you got a new career going.
Oh yeah, you did? Who did you hear this from?
I feel like we've done this before.
Yeah. Feels like we've done this a few times. Maybe we do. I don't know. But no, it's been good. I mean, quarantine time is also a time to, let loose and have that 80-20% balance on life. 80% time of serious training, diet, let's be focused. And then you got to have that little looseness. And that 20% is there to have a guilt-free conscious if you want to play some video games or some Fortnite or any of those good things like that. So, just been taking the time, definitely staying active and getting in the water when I can in a safely way, not in any of the state parks because they're all closed down, and of course not in big groups, but staying healthy, getting a bunch of home different activation programs, and just staying fit that way. And then when I can, playing some video games, relaxing with the family, cooking some dinner, trying some new recipes, and just trying to stay really just moving. And whether it's cooking or whether it's out there being active in the yard, running, jogging, on the indoor bike, we got to be doing something, right? We got to be staying active.
All right, good stuff. No idea what you just said because I took off for a minute, but I'm sure it was insightful.
It is.
Alrighty. So this is the world premiere of I don't even know what we're calling it. The Marble League, Marble Racer.
The Marble League. Yeah, it's the Marble League.
This is your guy here.
Ooh, blue. I like it.
Yeah, I gave it a touch up overnight. Where is it? There we go.
Did you do that handwriting?
Yeah. It was basically like the marbles were, here's Angie. She's got the OG color. It was like these see-through.
Yeah.
And then I gave all the custom ones a paint job. So basically, we're starting a marble racing league to make up for the fact that there's no SUP races the next 4 to 6 months.
I mean, because Carolina's coming up. All these big races are coming up. We got to race somehow.
Carolina is the Marble Liner Cup, I think, now.
Yeah, now it is. We're going to do the graveyard rolling.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be much nicer than the real graveyard race.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to sit back and get a bag of popcorn and be guilt-free and just have some fun watching it.
Yeah. So these are basically, if you're watching the YouTube version, you can see here's the marbles. This is Connor.
Big stuff.
This is Larry Kane right here.
Oh, he's in there. He made it.
Oh yeah, OG Fiona Wild.
Yeah.
So
she's gonna be a threat. Watch out.
Yeah, and it's gonna be exciting. It's gender equal. The men and women are on the same start line.
I was gonna say they might as well. We're living in a day of age. We have to be, right? Same start line, same course.
I think the women have actually got a pretty good chance.
I do.
The power to weight ratio is pretty even for a lot of these paddlers. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, that's going to be a bit of fun. But you've been playing games as well.
Yeah.
Did you just talk about that when I ran off?
I let them all know that I was just doing the 80-20% life lesson, basically. 80% where we're looking, being focused, training, and 20% where you're guilt-free. And that's when you play Fortnite.
I mean, that could be, people, that's a career now. Yeah. Isn't it crazy?
No,
like when we were kids, I mean, you're still a kid almost, but when I was a kid, my parents would be like, stop playing computer games so much. That's not, you're wasting your life. Now parents are like, please play more Fortnite.
Yeah.
You're paying for our retirement.
Get good. Have Red Bull sponsor you. And seriously. And right now too, being indoors, like, it's probably just the main thing you can do. And at least it's keeping some people focused and active, not going too crazy, hopefully.
Yeah, those leagues must be blowing up. But
right.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun with the Marble League. That's premiering in a few days.
Ooh, exciting.
But I want to go back. You've been around this sport for basically ever, since it was almost a sport. Like, you were at the second BOP, 2009?
Yeah, second one. First one I missed. Didn't get to take down Chuck. But I've been there every year since. But I mean, I saw it starting over here in Maui. I saw Laird from day one. My dad was active with the whole strap crew. He was out there filming with those guys. So I was seeing kind of more or less what these people were up to. And that was Laird off season, summertime paddling upwind in like 25 knot plus on a longboard and some makeshift paddle going upwind, downwind, upwind, downwind. So that's when it all started. And, 11 years old for me, my dad got me on a longboard with a kayak paddle that he cut, aluminum, bought a T-top, and made myself a paddle. But, it was hard because at that time I was also windsurfing, surfing, and doing a few other water sports. And to go on an 11-foot longboard with a heavy paddle that, no joke, if I dropped it, it sunk. So I had to swim to the bottom to get it. It was aluminum, water would fill up. Like, it was not easy. And board was hard to turn. Where windsurfing, you're on small gear, especially then I was getting all custom gear. So I was able to hit the lip, do top turns, blasting out, doing jumps, back loops. And so I kind of got pushed to the side. And it wasn't really until I was like 14. That was really when it hooked. And that was just because of that race. Kind of downwind, when the equipment evolved, got way more interesting. I've always been a racer at heart, even in the windsurfing and soccer and that more competitive style more than judging. And that race, when I beat some of the big dogs and got a check, $4,000 check at 14, I was like, this is interesting. Maybe I should dabble here a little bit.
Wow. Were you paddling? When did you start taking SUP seriously? Because you grew up windsurfing, right? That was kind of your first international career. You were traveling when you were 10 or 11 years old, yeah?
Yeah, I mean...
When did you switch to SUP?
Involved with starboard since 5, and then it was 10, 11, doing some international trips. And then it was like I said, 11, 12, 13 was 11 first time trying it, didn't love it. 12 tried it again, boards got smaller, it was a little more interesting. 13, starboard had their annual photo shoot here in Maui, and then they brought some smaller boards and actually more high performance surfing style. So then I was like, okay, this is more interesting. And then SIC was getting into the picture. And so I would say 12, 13, that age was really when I was training and doing some more downwinders. And 14 was the year, 13 and a half, 14 was the year where I was like, okay, I'm going to train, try to do a few races, and then somehow won my first race.
And one of your early races was the BOP at Dana Point, right?
Yeah.
The year Jamie Mitchell won, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct. How was that? Because back then you were just a scrawny little kid. I mean, you weren't, the greatest of all time. How did you go?
That year I got wrecked. I always felt like I did pretty good, decent. And then, with the waves and all that, it was just madness. Never have done a technical style of racing. It was only downwind. So I got destroyed. I did not even make top 10 or anything, but went back knowing what to prepare for, and boards were different and all this good stuff. So at least the next years going forward, creeped into the top 10, and then it was game on. Once I had number 9, I think, or 7 the first year, it was like, okay, I can't get any worse than this. I just have to get this one or better, this one or better. And that's just, kept going each year like that.
Well, you kind of shot yourself in the foot pretty early because you hit number 1 quite young.
Yeah.
How did you keep the motivation? Because I did that thing a couple months ago, the paddler of the decade, you and Annabelle.
Yeah.
And yours was just no question. You were dominant. You were the undisputed number 1 for probably 5 straight years. And you've been winning events. I think you won an international race every single year of the past decade, which is extraordinary. But when you hit the peak, you're world number one when you're like, I don't know, 17 years old. How do you stay motivated?
It was hard. I mean, I think at the time there was so much hunger, there was so much drive then that it was like I didn't even realize it. But then, yeah, exactly. When you talk about the peak, or then, okay, now I have a huge target on my back, and now it's like, now I have to prove what I can do. And all I know of doing from the last few events were winning. So I got to just do that. It was a lot of pressure, and it was extremely hard. And I think it didn't really catch up to me until the last few years, where then it was getting like, okay, what do I really want? What really is making me happy? And are winning these races every single year at every single event, from short 200 meters to 32 miles? Like what was exciting me? What was I like jumping at the start line? And it was really a good few years of, I would say 2 years of learning, like, okay, I just like this and just want to do this because there's motivation there, there's hunger there. And I think that's been the bread and butter, really fine tuning what I actually do like. And I think last year was a big light bulb over the head. I didn't do a lot of races and I didn't win a lot of races, but the races I showed up and had a vision of me on that top podium, I was on that top podium. And that was, Pan Am's, the 200 meter in China, and these different races. So it's like game face was able to be put on when I wanted it. The longer stuff and the more boring stuff, in my opinion, and harder stuff, no question about it. Those guys are animals. There's no motivation. There's no want. There's no drive at that start line. So it was pretty clear. And that's been now the focus for moving forward, going on for 2021, I guess.
Does it feel like a relief? Because I've seen you, like we've traveled a lot together. I've seen you struggle with the motivation of doing races you don't want to be doing, but you feel obligated. Has it been a relief to kind of finally say, screw it, I'm not doing these races. I'm going to focus on what I want to focus on?
Yeah, huge relief. I mean, it wasn't, because last year I was still doing some of those ones I didn't necessarily want to do. And I think this year I got like my whole schedule basically drawn up and said, Starboard, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm skipping all Euro Tour events, basically just focusing on APP. Going to focus on the Hawaii series because that's going downwind, and we got Maui, Molokai, and all really fun grassroots events that bring a lot of people to the sport. And now that they were going to be lined up, in the month of July, was pretty incredible because we haven't had that before. And it's still a hope, still a dream, of course, to keep that rolling into next year. But,
for sure.
I think that was a huge weight relief and a huge surge of a new hunger and a new drive of like, oh, wow, now I can just kind of focus and tune into what I want to do, instead of having to be not really prepared in everything, but not really skilled in one. Like that's how it's been over the last few years, because that's how our sport's been. Like it was like you said, the last 10 years I was doing from Los Mills 200 meters. And if we're including that 10 years, 11 city tour, but I did that once and learned my lesson really quick. Never did it again.
You're not coming back to Holland? No, 11 cities? Come on, mate.
Eventually.
That's a classic.
Maybe eventually when I'm older and
when you're Bart's age.
Paddle me. Yeah. When I'm Bart's age. Exactly. Do some ultras. Join you on the Yukon.
Oh yeah. Add that to your bucket list, mate. That one is special.
I got a little eyebrow raise.
Oh yeah, that's actually like that hit me. That hurt when that got cancelled.
I know.
I know. All this. I figured. The crazy roller coaster our sport and the world of sport was going on for a couple of weeks there, when it was just dropping like flies every day. Yep. It was kind of like I was almost removed from it. I was like, it was kind of numb to it. Like I wish I should have been in Tahiti today for the Air France race, and I would have loved to be in Tahiti. Like I would have loved to go to Europe. I would have loved to go everywhere, but it didn't really totally impact me until Yukon got cancelled, because I was like so close to my heart.
Basically for the US, it was basically when the NBA got basically dropped.
Yeah.
US, it was like, okay, now it's serious. We got to go get toilet paper. We need to stock up, and now it's real.
That's so true. Yeah, like we were
like, seriously.
We were sitting there watching, like, it happened in China. We saw what was coming. And everyone's like, oh, that's a fishbowl over there. That's not us. And then we started getting some cases, and it was building, and people were like, maybe there'll be some cheap flights. Everyone was making jokes about, the Corona holidays. And then overnight, the NBA season is entirely suspended, and everyone said, holy shit, this is for real.
Yeah. And then not much longer, it was like US just banned all flights coming in from Europe.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh gosh. And then I know Arthur Rukin suffered personally because I was like, oh, it shouldn't be a problem. You can still get to Europe. He's like, yeah, but all the Air France planes are in Europe. Like, there's no planes. I was like,
oh, was he on Maui?
He was on Maui, and he had to get surgery, I believe. So he was getting like, he needed to get home. And I was like, gosh, this is getting real, really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it escalated so quickly. It was extraordinary.
So quickly. But yeah, the NBA was the like cherry on top where it was just like, okay, panic.
Yeah. No, it's been a very interesting time, I think, for sport. But, you know, like you're saying, there's a lot of positives in it, you know, environmentally, socially. And I think it's good that we've had this chance to reset and pause and reflect, because I was talking with Martin Letournier in France, and he said stand-up paddling for him has kind of been like those mouse wheels where you're just running and you just keep running faster and you're just spinning. And he said it's kind of nice to stop and get off and look around.
Yeah, no, and what a place, you know, everyone has their time to be home, and, you know, wherever you are in the world, I think home is a very special place. So we're all home, and it's like, yeah, exactly. We're getting to pause and look back on, wow, what an incredible last, whatever it was, year, 10 years, and really move forward, I think, and in my opinion, like, what was I doing and what can I do better? And it's pretty cool. And for me, it's a whole new chapter, because what I was doing, what I got ahead of me with little man Tressel, it's a whole new game. So to be able to hit pause at this time is like, can pour 100% into him and stay active, stay fit, stay hungry, but, you know, raise another animal of a beast of a paddler.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2037 Molokai champion in the making.
There we go. Beat Riggs's record. Since Riggs took it from me, I have to get another Baxter on there.
Oh, yeah. What's the...
12 and a half, I think.
12 and a half?
I think it was 12 and a half.
Wasn't he driving a boat across for Aaron?
Yeah, but that was
when he was like 9 or 10?
Yes, 9 or 10, he escorted Aaron. It was like Aaron, and I don't know if he did it solo or relay, but Riggs was driving the boat, and his sister was there giving his dad all his nutrition, and yeah, that guy's a legend. And he has a son of himself.
I was going to say, you guys are like, you got the whole clan going over there.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of paddlers are popping them out these days.
Yeah, paddlers. You know, Kenny, and we did the math. It was like pretty close because he was like a day or two after. But if you actually did that time difference, they're like really close in birth. Tressel and his daughter.
Yeah, right. No, it's very cool.
Yeah.
So when you look back, you've had an incredible career, and obviously you've still got a very long career to go. What's been your favorite race? Like, which event stands out that it was, you know, it was, if you just could go back to one race after this, which one would you go back to?
Hard to say. I think there's been so many good ones, and there's been a lot of, you know, those ones that stick out in my mind, for instance, down in Chile, that were just so surreal and spectacular, but there was only race vibes down there. And what really hits home base for me is the whole environment, the spirit of the race, and all of that kind of stuff. So it would definitely be those OG days of BOP. Like, you were having huge crowds on the beach. It was that family vibe, bring down the cooler. I was inviting cousins, family, and we were just having a great time and having the best of the best race it off, and seeing some amateurs from all around the world coming there, and the best from all around the world coming to one platform and putting on a show, you know? So, and it really was a show with that arena, the waves, the course race.
It was the
style.
Super Bowl.
It was the Super Bowl. It was our grand slam of our sport. And it was, you know, like, gives me chicken skin thinking back about some of those days, for sure. Those were some really good times. And, you know, it even got better and better as the SUP Awards. It was like, those 3 days leading up, and, you know, it was the hardest time of my life trying to sleep, because you got SUP Awards, and then a day break from, you know, having a good time, letting loose a bit, and then Friday to recover, and then bang, Saturday, Sunday, 2 of the hardest races of your life, and then some more good times. Maybe, you know, the Riviera House might have a party. I don't know.
I'm gonna the Riviera parties was something else, weren't they?
Classic.
I've just Googled Connor Baxter Battle of the Paddle. I want to see what images come up here. This is untested. I don't know what we're gonna find.
Yeah, I'm good.
But the first one, I'm up there. The first one, how young are you here? Was this your first? Was this 2009?
No, because I'm wearing a yellow jersey, so I've already.
Oh yes, you've already finished top 10. So this must be 2010. Yeah, there you go, 2010.
Yeah.
Wow.
2010. So the year after. So, so I did break top 10 the first year. That's right. I did. I just barely made top 10 in 2009. Oh, that's some OG days.
Wow. You and the king, the goat and the king.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's a
classic.
That's one for the history books right there. Connor Baxter, Danny Ching. This must be the year you won it, right? This was 2011, was it?
No, because the year I won it, I was in front of Jamie and Danny in my orange shorts, no virus, choke stroking it like a champ.
What's that?
I didn't catch a wave. It was like a barely, and that was on a whiteboard. That one's on blue Brian Schmansky.
I'm gonna find that shot of you and Danny and Jamie. That's just all time. What was it like? Because I remember I was watching the live stream back here in Australia of that. Here we go.
There's some of us running. Yeah,
that's
6. So I was like, okay, I can't do worse than 6. I'm with top 3. I'm already got it.
And I remember that race. You boys broke away early, and that was just a 3-horse race the whole way.
Yeah, the whole way. I led the first lap and the last lap, and that was my tactics going into it. So I was stoked to come out with the win because they pulled the second 2 like animals, of course. Yeah, there's a shot.
Yeah.
Coming in on the waves. But it was all, what happened was we were all together. Luckily, I was leading that pack. We went into the hammer buoy. This year wasn't too much waves. You can see that was probably the set, not even breaking.
Yeah, that was a small year, huh?
Small year, for sure. And then we turned the hammer buoy, all good. They were behind me. And then they both went for a big push. And I had the inside, and we were all side by side, 3 of us going into that last right turn and then to the beach. And Jamie, it was me, Jamie, Danny. Jamie fell, took out Danny. I turned the buoy clean and just went like a bat out of a cage, just went all out. And then luckily submerged on this like no-see-em bump and came in for the win.
Yeah. No, that was an epic race. That's one of the all-time most epic races I think we've had in our sport. Danny, because Jamie was like the end of his SUP career then. He only had really a relatively short SUP career. And then Danny was kind of at his peak right then. He was the man. Like he was kind of unbeatable.
In the years before that, I don't know what number jersey he was wearing, but he was winning the distance and the tack, and he was the man. And it was true. Like he was pulling all of us around the courses most of the time, especially in distance races. So
yeah. And then for you, it was kind of that was your breakout year. That was the first year you won Molokai, I believe. You'd had this crazy season. I remember the downwind month, that old Maliko race. Some of the Aussie boys came back and said, there's this kid that's beat us all on a 12.6.
Yeah, there was some fun ones, but that was a good year. 2011 was a great year, a good season in Europe. I think that was a fun time. Maybe some of the first 2011. That might have been some of the first years Bellar was still trucking our stuff around and going there with Bart skis and doing Lost Mills, St. Maxime.
Yeah, no, it's good. We've had some good times over the years. Have you had one victory that stands out? Was your most memorable victory?
For sure. I think Pan Ams will just be engraved in there till the end of time unless I get the opportunity to, go to the Olympics. Just the platform, the like walk in, the whole atmosphere, like marching with 683 other athletes just on the American team, and then having all these other countries. And then it just felt like that whole Olympic vibe. And it's just like for sure standing out like that. I mean, there's of course so many other victories, but that one is like the one that just, recent too, of course, but really definitely stands out for sure. Just because the platform being down there, it was, the best of the best down there, and it was fun.
I'm going to find that shot. Here you are, looking pretty stoked.
Yeah.
American flag.
American flag, but Maui's tatted on the arm, always represented.
Yeah, what's the, that's interesting. You used to compete for Hawaii. Now you compete for the USA. Obviously, just give us, like you were saying the other day, the backstory on why Hawaii was considered separate in surfing, because it kind of goes back to the 80s when the North Shore surfers were just kind of demanding respect, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's a different breed out here. We have different waves, different style of surfing. You have to be good, you have to be aggressive, you have to be quick. And, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, of course, we've seen Peruvians surfing way back in the day on their moving boats, but Hawaiians were some of the first two as well on like actually wooden shaped and longboards. So it's part of the culture here. So I think that was a big thing. And then just going into all of it, it was like there were so many good surfers in the US and there were so many good surfers in Hawaii, and it was this kind of weird, awkward thing. So ISA was just like, okay, we'll just do both. And I think that's been just kind of the norm until things got more serious with federations coming involved and Olympics being talked about. And now ISA is under the IOC. So it's like things have changed, shifted. And at the end of the day, I hold a USA passport. So I'm American. And, but, I like to stick true to the roots. This is where I'm from. We're raised and, brought up such a different way with a lot of respect, a lot of aloha, always spreading it. I think Zane is the king of proving that. And
absolutely,
I try to vibe off of that as much as I can. And yeah, that's just how it rolls out here.
How was it growing up, like in your teenage years, kind of traveling the world with your mates like that? Like the famous Maui boy clan. I mean, you were especially close with Zane.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like? I mean, traveling the world with Zane must be an experience no matter what you're doing. But what was it like to grow up as a globe-trotting pro athlete?
Yeah, I think my dad, mom and dad both made it possible for me. Really got to thank them because they brought me on trips super young age and just kept that dream going alive. And I think my dad really instilled it into me, just saying like, what you're learning from traveling and seeing and meeting and doing all this is so much more valuable because these are the things you're going to remember. And like we're talking about all these memories of, competition. It is also the journey out there. Like the Euro Tour wouldn't be the Euro Tour if it didn't have those stories in between. And
yeah,
I think over the years, it's really taught me that, hang on to the close ones and all the friends that you travel with and really appreciate those times because, who knows, a crazy virus can come and lock you down from travel and can't go anywhere. And you just got to really be grateful for those times. But traveling with Zane, it was just only laughs, only good times. Traveling with you guys, same things. And then you got other people we've traveled with, not going to name names, but, like that are more serious and, have a whole different MO than you. And it's really cool to find those and, and realize that as well as, make do with it and try to work around it.
Yeah, what's it been like? You've had some famous rivalries over the years. I guess none more so famous than with Kai. Like for a few years, that was like, it was the most entertaining time in SUP. It was the Connor Kai show. Yeah. And, sure. Sometimes it boiled over, but there was genuine passion there and there was genuine tension between you guys. And I don't think people realize that it's been going on a lot longer than SUP, right? Like you used to compete because you're a couple of years younger, yeah?
Yeah, he's, I believe, in 28, so three years younger, I believe. But it's been going on forever. I mean, come to Hawaii and go to a junior surf competition. It's inbred in us here in the ocean from surf competitions. And I was doing those as young as 5 years old. And, it's only evolved from that to then we were doing different things from windsurfing, these events, that. And then windsurfing for a while really took a hold of both of us. And we were actually traveling together sometimes to Bonaire to compete and seeing each other on the road at competitions. And so it was only, and especially in Maui with the Maui Race Series and the famous Aloha Classic at Hokipa, like we've been competing against each other before that. And then it was like from 14, 15, 16, he was like kind of more doing the surfing, and then he realized, oh, there's some opportunity in the racing as well with APP, short sprints, waves, all the goodness and the fun, and came over, and then it was game on again, right back into, because I wasn't really surfing too much, so we kind of separated for a second, but then no, it was genuine. We really wanted to beat each other every single time. It was like win or lose, like I can't, like you're gonna like melt down and cry, but that's what made it fun. That's why I think our level of the sport, was able to come up, because we showcased, there is competition here, and there is excitement when we're battling, and there's waves and we're bashing into each other, and there's some fun to be had, and everyone remembers any classic rivalry in any sport. So, and now it's cool because he's definitely shifted way more to the big wave stuff, hardly doing any SUP, maybe every now and then jumping on the SUP board and doing like the Red Bulls events if he has time. But our relationship is definitely changed. Seeing each other is a whole different aspect, and we're always messing with each other, replying to each other.
What's it like now?
And it's good. Like it's totally normal. It's always been like that. We've been able to hug it out after races, and sometimes it might have been real, sometimes it might have been fake from both of us. But at the end of the day, we both wanted the same thing, and we both had a level of respect for each other that we maybe didn't know, but deep down we really actually did subconsciously have. Like, I say it now every single day, I try to balance myself between Kai and Zane. Like, that's where I find my happiness and my, like, okay, I got to be a little bit like Zane, but then I have to be like Kai, like game on, okay, I'm Kai, and then we're letting loose, quarantine time, okay, Mr. Aloha, let's have some fun.
That's fascinating. That's a very interesting kind of Zen way of looking at it.
That's the yin and yang in my life.
And now you've got, I guess, the rock in your life is, apart from your beautiful wife, Anae, it's your son now.
I know, whole different shift, change of the game. So it's been crazy, cool times learning and adapting to that. And it's already super fun, and he loves baths, loves the water. So it's been incredible to share little things like that.
I gotta get that shot up again. You guys sharing your first pizza. His first pizza.
Oh yeah, the pizza one is classic. He didn't get any of it, unfortunately. That was like peak training. I think I ate 2 pizzas. Yeah.
Nice.
Cheese and a pepperoni. Ooh,
how are you staying motivated? Because you're one of the hardest workers in the sport, which surprises some people, because you got that laid back, kind of just, you
got to be a little.
You don't come across as serious sometimes, but you train like an animal. Like, you work your ass off to be a professional athlete. And I know I was surprised in the early years with you guys, how seriously you took it from a young age, which is really cool. But now that you've got this downtime, like, how are you keeping motivated?
I mean, basically, take you a run through of the week. It's pretty straightforward. I want to stay active, stay motivated. And how? I mean, providing for this little guy is everything we got to do. So as soon as we come out of this quarantine, it's game on. And every race, every opportunity I have, I'm going to go out there and give it my best. And now it's fighting for something whole new. It's like, I got to prove to everybody else, and I've already done that in a lot of ways, so that's not necessarily the top thing now. It's like, okay, now I got to fight for this guy and provide for this guy, and this is my livelihood, this is what does it, so let's go race hard and bring home in the dough, right?
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to after this? You've talked about you're kind of changing your outlook on the sport, or your approach to the sport. You're not going to try and be, because like you used to be a Usain Bolt that would also run marathons, which is just insane when you think about it. Like, you were doing 200 meter, like the equivalent of the 100-meter sprint and the equivalent of the running marathon, sometimes all within a weekend.
Yeah, totally. Like, within, you're in Europe doing an APP. I remember this year, but doing an APP sprint and distance, getting on a plane, flying home, getting home on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then literally the next week in Molokai. So been there, done that. And now I think that's what a lot of the motivation is coming from, is that like there's kind of almost, it's familiar and I know it, but I do know that familiarity of like that feeling I get and that excitement I get from those kind of races. And that's technical, downwind, and sprinting these short, explosive, high entertainment, highly precision, got to be on your game, tactical, technical. And that's what's motivating me for sure, like, and the races that I'm going to be doing, mostly APP. So you're getting that 10K distance in. And then, of course, the sprints, the technicals, 3 races this year, unfortunately, due to the coronavirus. But I think that's going to be the main focus. And then, like I was mentioning before, the Hawaii series, if we can really blow that up and get that on a huge scale, get more events, because we lost Olokai, unfortunately. But that month of July should be the Hawaii season, and that's going to be, a fun one to do, and we'll see how that goes.
Tell us about, I'm going to try and find that sprint from the ICF because I want to replay that. You basically you got the world record sprint. Actually, we got it here.
You're there.
Talk us through this. This was just absolutely
this one
next level.
Chicken skin every time I watch it, especially with your freaking horse track race announcement. Can they hear this? Gosh,
I don't think we've got audio on this one. But yeah, I lost my mind calling this.
You gotta let them know to give them a like. But no, this race was insane. I had the game plan of basically when it started to hurt, that's when the race actually started, and you can really see it. Like right now, you see us all 3 in a line. And I think in this moment right here, I was like, okay, it's hurting, turn it on. And then now you can see me going pop, 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 pumping the board and trying to keep it on top of the surface right now, and just really light taps in the front, but just the highest, absolutely like lung burning cadence that makes you want to puke. And I think we'll get better and more serious about the lanes and all this stuff, because you can see right here, I'm getting there, already crossed the finish line, and then I'm shooting my board. But if we had our own lanes and we're able to do what those guys do, I think I could have been even faster.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was interesting. Andre, the Russian guy that got 3rd or 4th there.
The animal.
He came out and said, all right, give me a year. I'm going to beat your record. Like he was fired up.
Pretty hard. He was like, I'm going to study. I caught the video. I have all these angles. I'm going to figure out what you did, what secret paddle technique you did, and I'm going to beat that record. And I'm like, you are an animal, dude. He is. Like, he's been following him on Instagram.
Next level.
He's just like in China right now and doing crazy home workouts in his hotel room, teaching the Chinese 200-meter sprinters or the sprinters for their K1 or C1, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that must feel good that you're inspiring paddlers all around the world to go next level.
Not only just paddlers, like from amateur level, like he's an athlete and pro athlete on any mountain. I mean, he was winning or on his way to winning a gold medal if the 200-meter sprint stayed into it, from what I was hearing. So it's super cool to see that and get him all fired up and hungry. And that's actually like from him to lower levels of kids to seeing that inspiration. That's a deep down motivation I've had from day one of sports in general. And I think Zane and I have classic videos of back in the day doing free kid clinics every time we went on a windsurfing trip, and that transferred over. Now Zane has his whole thing, the In Zane Day on Sunday, that I'm always over there as much as I can helping out with as well. So I think that's a big motivation as well. And going into this next year, I think being closer and more connected now on social media and having it more social is going to be super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think? You got some strong views on the Olympics. We won't get into the politics of it because that could take up hours. And that's not where your strong views are. Your strong views are on that you should be an Olympic athlete, because why don't you give us your take?
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we're putting our livelihood into this. We're sweating every single day, working out 2 to 4 times a day, and every day of the week pushing our limits. And I think any athlete that was or is still going to the Olympics could agree that's like exactly what they're doing. So we want it as much as everyone else. We have a sport that's new, it's fresh. And whether we have it under surfing, it's new and fresh for them. And we can be going on days that are not so good and fulfilling those days and filling those slots in and making not the best waves or kind of mushy waves so exciting. I mean, you saw that race that me and Jamie and Danny were on, and waves were barely even breaking, and everyone was on their toes. And you look at Pan Am's when, I mean, you had overhead surf, but you had all the surfers on the edge of their seats saying like, wow, I've never been so excited about SUP. Like, surfers saying that to you, the head coach saying that to you, and then people tagging you like new favorite sport and all these things. So it's super cool for sure.
That is a pretty good compliment if it comes from surfers. We haven't always had the best rap. I mean, we're all,
for sure.
A lot of us are surfers anyway. Like you and I both grew up surfing, but we've always...
That's where the roots started, But I think we should be on the Olympic level. And I think it's very unfair of what ICF and ISA are doing. I don't know who's causing it or what it is, but at the end of the day, who's suffering from this? Who's paying the price? I mean, who cares about the money they're losing or spending? Like the athletes are losing just as much. And the money they're losing is not feeding us. Like we're losing money and not feeding our family because of these huge events. I know a lot of federations are taking care of their athletes just like really good. Like Itzo gets taken care of, French team. Like, so a lot of us, are really looking forward to the ICF or ISA every year when it's world championships. We have something to prepare for and train for. And now, of course, the coronavirus may not have canceled it, but they were looking like they weren't even going to run anyway. So it's like, they're just delaying things for everybody, which is a bummer.
Yeah, it's gnarly. This whole court case in Switzerland. It's like when I wrote that article about the selfish parents kind of arguing about custody of the child, but not asking the child what they would like.
Exactly what that's what I mean.
It's almost, it's a little surreal.
It's unfair. It's surreal, but I mean, we're in it and it would be great. I know, Sven is always pushing at ends and trying to help out. And we're always emailing saying like, what we do is there's things we can do to both federations, always talking to Casper and trying to get to Fernando and seeing what we can do as athletes, because we're the ones really suffering.
Do you get much? Do you get?
No.
Is there much dialogue?
Problem. No, that's the problem. It's like the most dialogue I get from those guys are face to face, of course. And that's when I see them at events down in Peru or in China when we saw all those guys. So it's like, it's hard. Is
this both federations you'd say you'd struggle to get clear communication with?
For sure. Like I'll get answers sometimes, or I should say not answers. I get replies, not always answers. And those replies come every now and then as well. And that's all of us. Like I think a lot of athletes could second that from both federations. They do their best. I know they have a lot on their hands and they're managing a ton, especially when you have a big 100-year-old federation, and even for surfing federation, being their first year in the Olympics. So I definitely get it. But at the end of the day, it's hard for us to swallow and adjust to, but hopefully they'll get a wrap on it and we can find a clear way. What that is, I have no idea. In a golden way, like if they could just end things quicker, why doesn't ICF get the sprint 200 meter and the marathon, since they're so good at running that? And then the ISA can tune in and focus what they're good at. And that's surf races, big technical and a sprint surf race. Great. Like I really don't care. Like both of them run like great events. So it's hard to really decide, and both of them have a lot of push from different ends and different pros and cons on everything, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's strange, and like you said, it's a very frustrating time. I mean, I'm not even a professional athlete, but for me it's very frustrating to look at. So if the sport was nice and smooth, and if we're on some kind of pro surfing level, I'd probably get paid to go and commentate like a real wage. But it seems like we're stuck in limbo at the moment, and no one, like there's a lot of egos involved. Obviously, if you've followed the ISA, there's some big ego involved. Same with the ICF, there's a lot of power, some money. Like it's not really huge money on offer, but there's money involved. But I think really it's just the power. Like it comes down to people have some power, they don't want to give it up, and they want to get more of it. It can be kind of toxic, and the people that
for sure
are losing out are you guys, basically.
Yeah, we're the biggest ones that are losing out, which is a bummer, and it's making the whole sport take a dive in a lot of ways too, because now what is stand-up paddling? What is it? Is it something like, is it just this like hobby thing you do on the weekend that I can buy a board and it'll last me for the next 20 years? Or is it something I want to get serious in and get the new equipment and, really invest my life into and have the best equipment? Like any biker or any runner, they're going to research and get the best equipment that fits their style, their shoe size, like their sizing and all this stuff. But at the moment, it's like we're in limbo. It's hard to really see that light at the end of the tunnel, but we're a beautiful sport. We have huge federations fighting over us. So obviously we have value right now. They're just undermining us, but Obviously there's interest, and why that is because of multiple things. We're a sport that can go at anywhere, anytime, on any body of water. That's been the golden saying of our sport from day one. That is incredible. There's not a lot of sports you can say that about, water related, I should say. And then at the end of the day, we can make it exciting, whether it's flat water, waves, upwind, downwind. We can do short courses, long courses. Like, we have the ability to adapt to any style of racing, any type of format. And unfortunately, we really haven't fine-tuned that, which I would like to see more of. And maybe this is a great time to really fine-tune courses and maps and all these different things that have been talked about for so long and not really actually done. But who knows what will actually happen. Hopefully these tours and these federations and all these different events really do take that time and come out of this stronger and better and more prepared and have a stronger foundation.
Yeah, that's the dream for sure. I mean, and I guess at the end of the day, the bonus is, like you said, like, they're fighting over us. It's not like we're trying to beg to be relevant. Yeah. We've got a sport. Like, we're already a sport. We've got, you know, from the Glaglas to the Euro Tours to the, you know, the Chatterjacks, the Parises. There's so many amazing events out there. Like, I was in France 2 months ago for, it seems like years ago now, but 2 or 3 months ago for the Glagla race. There was 620 people on the start line. It was the most incredible drone footage I've ever seen of our sport. And that, you know, that's not ISA, that's not ICF, it's not, you know, any federation. It's just for the love of the sport.
Together this weekend, and people that love the sport. Exactly. And then you got to look at Paris. Like, waking up at 6 a.m. is not fun at any time. When it's cold and to get in the water and it's dark, it's like even more miserable. But you got same thing. We got 900 or more, I think almost 1,000 paddlers out there on the water, and it was not great conditions, and everyone knew it. It was talked about in the briefing the day before, saying there's going to be strong headwinds. If you're not prepared, don't come, and all these things. But everyone showed up, and I don't know how many people finished, but they showed up, got on the water, and you know, grounded down and paddled through the Seine River.
Yeah, that's a special race. I did that one a few years ago. I got my Eiffel Tower selfie on the board.
Oh, you got to get that.
That's the, I think I lost like 50 places just because I was standing there with the GoPro, trying to get the right angle.
Current going the other way.
I was like, I'm not going to be back here for a while. I got to get this shot.
It's better than Bart and I when we did the first Euro Tour, when Bellar was driving all the boards around basically, and it wasn't really connected. But me and Bart were doing a little Euro Tour style.
The inflatable thing. Yeah.
We were going to all these different places, checking out Venice and paddling through here and there. And Paris was one of the stops. And of course, we had to get the iconic shop. So we go down, pump our boards up. And literally, when we hit the water, we can see the cop cars on the other side get in their car, start driving over. So we're like, okay, we got to just bang this out, get the shots. We got all the shots.
Wow.
And I think when they got in the car, we were already in the water. So I don't think they necessarily saw us. And then the whole trip, because Bart speaks like 20 languages, I think, he was speaking the whole time because we're going to different countries. He's like, okay, Connor, this is your time to shine. Play the dumb American. I'm like, oh, you freaking. So I had to be like, oh, you know, we're just tourists. We wanted to go in the water, but we didn't. We're not, I don't think we will. It looks very dangerous. And like yelling at us in French. They have guns on them. We're like, oh my gosh, this is highly illegal, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. That's why that race is so popular, yeah, because it is illegal to paddle there every other day of the year. You can't paddle past the Eiffel Tower. Yeah.
It's all closed off. I went with the paddle club down there, and you can paddle up to a certain point and literally see it in the distance, but that's it. You can't go past that point, and it's only licensed boat drivers.
Yeah. No, you've had some adventures over the year, for sure. I think we all have.
Times.
And it's definitely a time like this when we look back and reflect and appreciate, you know, the bowling alley at Lost Mills, how special that was.
Yeah, I know. I wish we got to find that video again of OG
Jakey, the Raging Bull.
Just spill too much, information. But there were some good videos that year. What year was that? That was some fun.
That was 2014, I believe. 2013, maybe. Yeah, because Jamie was there. Jamie had the Princess's BMW. Yeah. And that would have been 2013. Right. That was a fun summer.
Yeah, good times.
I remember you gave Jake Jensen a few too many shots of Jaeger.
Jaeger. Now I just do a little sips of Jaeger for my pre-stretch rollout because it loosens up your fascia. Apparently, 56 different botanical herbs to make that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of these drinks used to be medicine. It's kind of crazy.
Well, especially, Jaeger is like a digestive or anything, but it's apparently some of the stuff in it helps release your fascia. So if you go to stretch or roll out, take a little shot of that. Helps you loosen up before the whole adventure of stretching.
Nice. Well, before we finish...
do a live Zoom class of that next week.
Before we finish here, we're coming up on the hour, and I want to keep these daily shows to an hour. The best after party of all time in our sport. What's it been?
Ooh, man, that's a hard one. Bilbao has some good memories for sure, but I think
I don't remember a lot from Bilbao.
ISA that's why it was good. But ISA Denmark, I mean, I will remember those times for a while. Like all the guys surfing up there and the games we were playing, the fridge room. I mean, they put a really well put together party, and it was like a long week of competing, traveling, driving, all this stuff. So everyone was letting loose, but that was a really fun one, and I definitely would put that up there.
Good stuff. All right.
Yeah, man.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Connor Baxter, thank you very much for joining us on Paddlecast Quarantine Edition. We'll let you get back to the little man and your beautiful wife, Anae, and enjoy your time over there on Maui, which is going to be for several months to come.
I know, man. It's going to be some crazy times. Lots of little man just growing up really quickly, but going to take it all in, stay hungry. And for everybody else out there, same thing. Take this time to really be with family, take it all in, see what you want to, improve on moving forward. And everything's going to be good. Stay safe, stay healthy. All right.
Beautifully said, mate. Thank you very much. On that note, we'll wrap it up. We'll see you again tomorrow for another episode, folks. Cheers.